Log on, tune in, find out. Another good idea from Cambridge.
So it's a great pleasure and honour to have a chance to talk to Professor Chie Nakane. Can you tell me when you were born and where you were born?
Oh, I was born in Tokyo, and you said when?
When, yes.
I think 1926.
Was that about the time of the Tokyo earthquake, or was that
After
the earthquake? That was 23, I think.
Yes.
Yes, that's right. You're an anthropologist, so you know that we are interested in our ancestors. So tell me, as far back as you like, something about your parents, grandparents, what they did and what they were like.
I'm not, I don't think I can trace back so well. But I think the recent history, I think my father's grandfather came from Edo, Tokyo.
Yes.
Because of that change the time, to Meiji era.
Yes.
So he was served in the shogunate. So he came out from Edo, that is Tokyo, to Aichi prefecture. And then they stayed some time. And then my father's father became engineer in the mining. And then I think there was some accident and he died, so that the company wanted my father to give education, higher education. So he went to college in Akita prefecture, that is now very known for mining. And then he graduated, but that was not a good time to find a job. Then he became a teacher of mathematics. And then some friend of his told him it is far better to become lawyers. And then he decided to make some...
There we are, some water.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
And then he became a lawyer.
A lawyer?
Yes.
Oh.
And then that was in Tokyo. And then I was born.
What sort of person was he, your father?
Oh, very much liberal. Yes. He has nothing to say to me for me. You have to do so and that, and just let me free entirely.
Did he? And he encouraged you in what you wanted to do, did he?
Not much encouraged, but he accepted what I wanted.
And tell me about your mother's family.
My mother's family is more sort of feudalistic, old type. She was born in town where Tokugawa Ieyasu was born. And then I think his father, first generation to become school teacher. And he president of principal of the school. Nothing particular thing, you see.
And what sort of person was she, your mother?
Oh, my mother is a very typical Japanese good wife, good mother.
And she was a good mother to you?
She wanted to make me very ordinary career, that married and become nice wife and nice mother like that. She's a bit old-fashioned.
And did you have brothers and sisters, or?
Yes. My younger brother, he died 2 years ago, and he was a lawyer. Because, when I sit examine for university, my father told me I should go to Faculty of Law. He also wanted me lawyer. And so I said, no, that is not interesting. And let my brother do the law business. So that time only, I think, told him that I wanted to go somewhere like Central Asia, some interesting countries. And if I am a specialized law and become a lawyer, I cannot do like that. So he said, okay. And then my brother took law.
Yes.
And became lawyer.
What is, were you, at some point you went to China with your family, didn't you?
Yes, yes. My father went first to China, and I was still young, so I didn't go. Mother and children remained in the mother's house.
Yes.
And then after some time, 2 or 3 years, we are told that in Beijing they are going to set up higher school for girls and boys. So that it's better to come to Beijing and join my father. And then we went to Beijing.
What year was this that you went?
That was, let me see, 1937 or something.
So you were about 11 by that time?
That time, yes, I was sixth year of primary school.
Yeah, so about that time. Going back to your primary school, do you remember you were first at primary school in Tokyo, were you?
Yes, that's
yes.
right.
Do you remember anything about that?
Oh, yes, that time it was just in time increasing population in Tokyo, and so the school, is not enough established. So we had a shift of school,
It moved.
morning school and the afternoon school, and sometimes changes, you see. So I often made a mistake when I went in the morning, and I was told it was the afternoon. That was a time really Tokyo was expanding.
And were you beginning as a child? Did you have any particular interests or hobbies or things that you were passionate about?
Not so passionate, but I liked the painting.
Painting.
Yes.
And you've always liked painting, haven't you?
Yes, sometimes, but I'm not so keen, but just like to write painting.
But you do painting now, don't you?
Yes.
You've returned to painting again.
Yes, sometimes I return.
When you went on, how long were you in China for?
I think altogether 6 years.
6 years?
Yes, and because in our system, after primary school, we go to the higher women's school. And then again, there is some colleges. So in Beijing, there is no Japanese colleges. So I went back to Tokyo.
I see.
And then joined the Tsuda College.
Tell me more about your time in China. Did you go and see any of the Chinese countryside or go out of Beijing at all?
Oh yes, sometimes we went other places, but not so often. But that time, it is not so safe that outside Beijing.
Because this was the time that the Japanese were in Manchukuo, and
that's right.
And the war was beginning to
That's right.
start.
Unstable time.
Was there much anti-Japanese feeling in Beijing?
No, I don't feel that. Maybe some people are like that, but in general, it is quiet. But outside Beijing, always some fight was going.
You didn't get up to Tibet at that time?
No, I had no idea about Tibet, but I simply wanted, someday I wanted Central Asia.
Why Central Asia?
I don't know, when I was a child, I liked to read some, adventure story on innermost Asia.
Inner Mongolia and places like that?
Yes, Central Asia.
Marco Polo and...
Yes.
At school, were there any subjects which you really enjoyed most and were best at?
In university, I looked for which department specialized in the Central Asia. Then I found it is Oriental history. So I joined Oriental history.
That was at university, but at school, did you particularly enjoy history or literature or language, or were there any subjects that...
No,
No.
not much.
No.
Simply like to read novels.
Read novels? Japanese or Chinese or...
Japanese
Novel.
translation, often translation.
Were there any particular writers who you liked? The Genji or...
Not like that. I was very much interested in the translation of Sven Hedden.
Of Western novels.
Journey to Central Asia.
Oh yes,
and
Sven
like
Hedden.
that, yes. Or sometimes American novel that Gone with the Wind.
Right. So you then went back to Tokyo and went to... Which university did you go
University of Tokyo.
to? University of Tokyo.
That time, I'm very thankful for American occupation. Tokyo University didn't accept the women that time. And then during occupation, this American occupation asked to let women to enroll the university. And so that was when I was second year at the school. And so 1 year I find for preparation, and then I decided to enter University of Tokyo.
This was just after the war, so you were in Tokyo during the war?
Yes, that's right.
And you were there when the bombing of Tokyo took place?
Yes, but I was in Tsuda College. That is a suburb of Tokyo, not the central part.
So it wasn't so bad?
No, not bad.
And at university, did you have any special teachers who you remember as being influential on you, or?
Oh, yes, influential or not, I don't know, but I like teachers, particularly Professor Egami, who specialized in Mongolia and archaeology, and another Professor Yamamoto, who specialized in Vietnam. And they are very interesting. I like to study with them.
So at the end of your undergraduate degree, what did you do then?
I thought, you see, when I enrolled in the University Department of Oriental History, majority of students or senior people are specializing on China.
Yes.
And then I found, you see, what they feel China is quite different what I know of China. So I thought I must, in order to study Tibet, I should know Tibetan society, and also society and people, because you see those Chinese specialized students, they never get to China, and they had the image through the books. So that's why the image is very much Japanese-ized. So I thought if I had studied only Tibetan literature, then I would have a wrong image on Tibet. So I must know the society, living people. And then I thought, what is the science to study living people? And then somebody told, there is science called anthropology. And then I started to study anthropology. But in the faculty of literature in University of Tokyo, there is no department of anthropology. And only anthropology was taught in faculty of science.
Oh.
So I went to the science department and studied it. But that is quite different from, the area is quite different from Tibet or Central Asia. And then some teacher told me I should go CIA, during occupation. The American had a good library, and there must be
The
books.
CIA.
CIA. There must be books on anthropology. So I went to the library, and then I found that most of the anthropological books deal with American Indians, and so it is quite different from Tibetans. So I thought, my goodness, this is not what I wanted to know. And then after 2 years, the occupation was over. And then that time I read books by Professor Joseph Tucci and also
Giuseppe Tucci, yes. Yes.
and George Lurich. And then I thought, then George Lurich's book published in Calcutta. And then I wrote a letter to him, care of a publisher. And if I could, if I could go to India, could I study under you? And then she said, always, once you come to India, I shall be ready to teach you. So I was so glad. And then that, unfortunately, Indian government started the scholarship for Japanese students. And then so I said, I sit the examination and passed it. And then I went to India.
Where in India did you go? Where was he?
Kalimpong.
Kalimpong. Oh.
He was there.
Sikkim, is that?
Near Sikkim.
Yes.
Yes. And then at the same time, I was affiliated to Government India Anthropological Survey in Calcutta. So I divided into two, half year in Kalimpong, half year in Calcutta, this Department of Anthropology.
What year was this that you went
That
to?
was 53.
53.
Yes.
And was it a shock to go to India? Did it feel very different from...
No, because I was so keen to go to Tibet, you see. I wanted to India and also keen to study under Dr. Luri. So I didn't feel anything about fear about India. And many people against it. They said, you shouldn't go to India. It is not an easy country. But I didn't care at all because first I wanted to Tibet and also I wanted to study with Dr. Luri. So India is a place just good for me that time because through China you cannot go to Tibet because China was just communist started, So impossible to go China. So I thought India must be a good place to crossing Himalaya. Then I could go to Tibet.
I see. Yes. And what do you remember your first impressions of Kalimpong? Because 1953.
Oh, that is very nice. And there is many Tibetan,
Refugees?
No, not refugees. Upper class, aristocrats. They had several aristocrats had a house in Kalimpong, and then their daughters almost with my age. So I became friend with them. And then they asked me, let us go to Tibet with us. So I said, I'm very pleased. And then sometimes in Calcutta, General, Soryoji, what you call it? In Calcutta, the posted in General Consular told me, you shouldn't cross the border. So I thought, my goodness, then I live up crossing the border. And then I studied, I made a field work in Sikkim, since I cannot go across the border.
How long was your field work in Sikkim?
Sikkim, I not one, several times, sometimes in Calcutta, sometimes with Dr. Ruri. So in that way, so it is not long duration only in Sikkim.
What was your field work about? What was the subject?
Subject is about Buddhas and raptures, and also system of monastery.
Did you know Geoffrey Gora at all?
No,
because Geoffrey.
that is after he did study there.
Because he worked on the lectures, didn't he?
Yes.
So when you'd done this work, what was your next move? Because did you go to London at some or?
Oh yes. Then the Indian scholarship is 2 years, and during 2 years I said like this, and I also made that field work in Assam.
You did?
Garo and Kashi and some Nagas, and then sometimes in the Bengal peasant. And also I did in the south field work, Nayars.
A lot of field work in a very short period.
2 years, and not exactly. When 2 years came, then I happened to meet Swedish lady, and then after our meeting, I think after 6 months, I suddenly received a telegram from Stockholm, and they decided to give me, research money for 1 year. So my stay in India became 3 years. And then they asked me if I could study the Matrilineal people. So I did the Kashi and Garo particularly, and then Nayars. So altogether I stayed in India 3 years. And then when 3 years came, so I said I finished India. Then this Swedish scholarship sent me telegram. They are ready to give me 1 year more. So I said, my goodness, I said 3 years I have been already in there. So now I would like to have a thesis or some essays on my field work in Europe. So I thought since that scholarship comes from Sweden, so perhaps I could go to Sweden and then write some thesis. And then they said, okay. And then that time, supervisor for this scholarship, that was called Aiding Wagner Foundation. And then supervisor in India was directly Mrs. Mirza. She was an ambassador in New Delhi. So this foundation told me, my supervisor is Ambassador Mirza. So that she is a sociologist. And then this after receiving, they okay, I shall go to Europe and write a thesis. That time in Amsterdam there was a Third World Congress of Sociology, and then Mrs. Mirza told me that please go to there. And so I went to Amsterdam and reported. I read the paper on Garo, and then went to Stockholm. And then Stockholm, I reported what I have done, their scholarship. Then member of this foundation, I think board member of this foundation was Professor Chie Nakane, president of Uppsala University. And he told me that anthropology is not so well developed in Sweden. So please go to London to do anthropological work. And then he kindly wrote me a letter to Professor Raymond First. So I went from Stockholm to London. So finally I've arrived in the real place for anthropology.
So you joined the or the post Malinowski seminar with Raymond Firth.
That's right. Right.
And who else was there then with you? Was
there are some Benedict, American Benedict. What was first name I forgot.
Yes.
And then some English, Lancaster.
Lorraine Lancaster.
Lorraine,
yes.
And also New Zealander, what? I forgot my memory.
Don't worry. And who were your other teachers apart from Raymond Firth? Was Lucy Mayer then there? Or?
Oh yes, but I hardly attended the class. Yes, I knew her.
And was it then that you met Fiora Heimendorf?
Yes, too. And then Professor First also advised me to go to Cambridge and to meet Edmund Leach.
Yes.
So mostly I think I studied the Leach and the First.
Yes. And you were writing up your Garrow and Kasi.
Yes, I wrote Garros. And then I stayed in London, 6 months. Already this become 1 year by the scholarship.
Yeah.
And then that time, fortunately, Professor Yamamoto, the University of Tokyo, arranged kindly let me go to Professor Tucci to study Tibetology. And so I went to from London to Rome. And then Professor Tucci kindly offered me the research money there. Then I studied Tibetology with him. Although he was too busy, but he always, whenever he had time, he telephoned me, please come now. Like that. I rushed to him always. And then 4 years I have been out of Japan. And then I received a letter from university or I think that's Department of Education. Whether I am still holding research assistant in Tokyo University. So they later said whether you come back or not. If not, your assistantship will be terminated. So I said, I must go back.
So you went back as a research assistant?
That's right. And then soon I became a lecturer, anthropology. During my absence, University of Tokyo established Department of Anthropology, Culture Anthropology. And then I was asked to teach right now. In that way.
Did you enjoy teaching? Do you enjoy teaching?
No, I don't like teaching.
Why is that?
I like, graduate in the graduate course. I discuss with graduate students about thesis. That I like very much. But I don't like to give a lecture in general course.
And what about sort of undergraduate students? Do you teach sort of individually with undergraduate students?
No, no,
no, never done that.
No.
So when you came back, did you continue writing about your, or working on your work on Tibet or on?
Yes, no, mostly field. I think about the field work, based on field work in India.
And what were the main topics? Before it's been matrilineal societies.
Yes, matrilineal society, and also these hill tribes in Assam or Sikkim.
Tell me something about the hill tribes of Assam, because I was born in Shillong, so.
Oh, I see.
And I've worked on the Nagas.
Oh, really?
And I know that area well.
That's very attractive place.
Yes. Did you enjoy working with the Garos
yes,
and the
very
Khasis?
much. Yes.
I had Khasi ayahs when I was a baby.
Oh,
so I was brought up by
really?
Khasis.
Oh, really? Kashi is the most advanced. And you know Cherrapunji?
Yes, I've
I
been
went
there.
up to there and I stayed sometime there. Very interesting.
And you found the people attractive and.
Very much.
Did you know Robin Sperling?
Yes, I met. He was in the Garo Hills.
Yes, that's right.
Yes. How is he?
I haven't heard recently,
I
no.
haven't heard.
No.
But he was only interested in Garo.
Yes. But you also did a little work with the Nagas. Which group?
Yes, Tanko Nagas.
Tanko
Angami Nagas.
and Angamis.
Yes. But I haven't published any essay on Nagas. I thought that it's not enough.
Then when you came back to Tokyo, when did you start doing your work on Japanese society?
Oh, that is much after. When I came back to Tokyo, and then I stayed, what is that, 1 year. And then I was invited from Chicago, and Soltax and Fred Egan. They asked me to come to teach there about Japan and India. So, again I went to the United States. Oh, that is first time for me to the United States. And then 1 year I taught a graduate course. And then I thought I would go back to Japan now. But then Sphira Hamendorf invited me, please do come to London. So I continuously went to London and 1 year stayed there.
You stayed for 1 year in SOAS.
That's right.
Were you teaching there or were you just visiting?
Jointly with Hamendorf.
And what was Hamendorf like as a colleague and teacher?
Oh, he's so nice, and Betty also very nice. I enjoyed very much. Quite different atmosphere in the Raymond First seminar, and he's
more relaxed with Hamendorf.
Yes.
Do you know his field work? Do you think his ethnographic field work is very good? Or?
Yes, I think he's almost dedicated to India, isn't it? So long time. And I worked sometime in Nepal.
Did you?
A short time with him.
Really? When was that? Because he went in 1953 first time, and then he went again 57.
Much later. He was become very old.
In the 70s, 1970s.
Yes.
Yeah. And was it interesting to work with him? Did you see how he worked?
Oh yes.
What was his method of working? Was he used to walk around a good deal, and was he filming at that time?
Oh, he did everything, and his approach is so soft, very interesting.
Soft. Well, how do you mean soft? What?
No, I think he doesn't try. What to call? He doesn't try to get something, like that. But he just received what he saw and what his people say, and how the things going on, just looking at.
So he absorbs information.
Yes, that's right. That's right.
And doesn't push people.
No,
And he's very gentle with people
very
as well.
gentle. Yes.
And was Betty with you at the time?
That time, no,
She wasn't.
no. Betty was not.
Because she organized a lot of his
Oh
field
yes,
work.
in London, she worked so hard.
Doing the bibliography and
Yes, yes.
many other things.
Yes.
Was Adrian Mayer
Yes.
there then?
Mayor was there, yes. Oh, Mayor was, I don't know, perhaps I came to know him in Raymond seminar. I knew before I came to SOS, I knew him.
Adrian Mayer, yes. And the last person I'll perhaps ask you about at the moment is Edmund Leach. How did you get on with Edmund Leach? He's
He's very interesting person, and he attacked everybody.
yes.
That is very interesting. And he drives so fast. Once he took me from London to Cambridge in such a speed.
You were terrified, were you?
I was so terrified. But it was very warm, nice person. You know, he invited what is the silver wedding dinner, only with three. And he and the silver. It's very nice. And that time I had the difficulty, you know, between Maya Fortis and Edmund Leach, not so good.
No.
You remember?
Yes.
And then I was invited another time in Cambridge, and I asked me to speak something. And then after that, Edmund and Maya Fortis both asked me to come to my house, to their house.
Yes.
And I was great trouble, you see, because I knew Maya Fortis a long time ago before I went to Chicago. And then I knew this. And then I said, my goodness, what can I do? So I finally said, Edmund, I shall eat with you. And then I sleep at Maya's. And I did like that, you see. I never had such a difficult time, but both accepted it that way.
And you knew Doris, did you?
Yes, yes.
Maya's wife. So did you enjoyed Cambridge?
Very much.
So after Chicago and then a year at SOAS, you were just one
That's
year.
right. During that time, I wrote two books, you know, about kinship and economic organization, rural Japan.
Yes.
And then that is from London.
Yes.
And then matrilineal system, comparative study of matrilineal system from Paris.
Yes.
Because from first time when I went Rome from London, on the way I stopped at Paris, and then I met Levi-Strauss. And then Levi-Strauss told me I should publish Garo and Kashi. So I said, okay. And then second time I went to London to teach undergraduate, and then I wrote that book too. So during these 2 years I wrote two books.
What was Levi-Strauss like?
You know, that time he told me that that was 56.
Yes.
Very nice, very, you know, sort of just colleague like the feeling. And after some time, he becomes so famous, and everybody speaks Levi-Strauss. He becomes, he has changed, you know.
Yes, he became formal and withdrawn. And,
yes, and it's not so attractive anymore.
So you had been doing quite a lot of wandering, and at the end of your time at SOAS, where did you go after that? Did you come back to Japan, or?
It's 2 years, you know, I am away, because that time I was already associate professor. So I cannot be so long being away from the station. And then after that, yes, now, Dalai Lama came out from Tibet. And then many Tibetans also came out. And so I used to go to India and to study Tibetan refugees, and particularly the monks who, escaped from Tibet. And then 80s, from 80s, after Cultural Revolution, gradually opened to China. And then I used to go to China and Tibet. So from 60s, I used to, after this Ron Heimendorf, I went to India and then concentrated, Tibetans. No more Naga or Kashi. And then I always went to Tibet. And so now China is gradually open. And then Japanese government sent first time cultural academic mission to China. And then I was one of the members of that. And then that time, first time I met Fei Xiaotong. And then after that, I used to commute to China. And then Fei Xiaotong is so kind to prepare for my fieldwork in Tibetan areas. Because, China is so political. And unless you know the top people, it is very difficult to get the permission that time. Nowadays, perhaps, not so difficult. And then Professor Fei Xiaotong was so kind. So he every time get me permission from the top person. And then arranged my assistant to go to Tibet.
Which parts of Tibet did you go to?
First I went to Kansu, and then next time I went to Sujan area. Then after that Tibet proper, Lhasa and Ganze, or Tibet. So I often went there. Then it is very interesting. In Chanto, there is special drivers to go to Tibet. Not quite different from the ordinary taxi driver. And then that driver became very friendly, and so whenever I go, he took my car, and then I used to go to Tibet.
You could just travel around Tibet more or less freely.
Yes, and then also met the scholars there.
What were you studying in Tibet? What were your main themes?
Modern history. Because I'm interested in the society. So particularly interesting part is after the Dalai Lama government was established. Then after that is 18th century. And then aristocrats and the bureaucracy is coming out. And then monastery power has become very strong. That kind of
So it was mainly historical.
Historical as well as
Anthropological.
Yes, both combined.
When did you last go to Tibet? What was that?
I went to 96 or
But what was it that so attracted you to Tibet? Because you'd seen many other interesting places like the Assam Hills and elsewhere. Why were you so excited about Tibet?
That is difficult because it is, quite different. First of all, it's very high altitude, and people are accustomed in such altitude, and they develop special way to things, you see. And then they have developed the Buddhism, Buddhistic thinking, and that is very interesting, from top scholar to the ordinary peasant. They share very interesting. And then some Tibetans are very knowledgeable, and they are scholars. So it is not Assam tribes, you see. I could talk with the scholars too, and also at the same time peasant nomad. And many kind of elements are mixed up in Tibet. That is very interesting.
And you speak Tibetan fairly well.
Not very well.
Fairly well. Yes. And did you take, I mean, you went to so many fascinating places. Did you do any other kind of recording apart from field notes? Did you take any photographs or?
Yes, photographs.
Quite a lot, or?
Not like Heimendorf.
Not like Heimendorf, but some.
Yes.
And no filming or tape recording.
Yes, some. It is very difficult. One person do all these things, isn't it?
Very difficult. That's why he needed Betty as well.
That's right.
But you did take a little film, did you?
Yes.
Was that 16mm film or
No,
just 8mm?
8mm,
8mm.
but not so good.
I mean, you must have a very extensive, amazing collection of field notes from all your different trips and visits.
Yes, yes. Sometimes I become lazy.
Yes. And what will you do with all this wonderful material? Will you give it to the university archive?
Perhaps I have to do so, but I have to put everything in order.
Just returning to your work on Japan, your most well-known book, perhaps outside Japan, is your book on
Japanese society.
Yes.
Yes, that is when I came back second stay in London. When I came to Japan, and then Chuo Koro, you don't know that publisher, very famous one, publisher came to me. Whatever you want, please write me.
Really?
So I don't know what subject should I write, and then said anything. So I thought when I came back from London, the Japan looked a bit exotic. Okay, then I shall write on Japan and Japanese, and then so I wrote it. And before that, there was a World Sociological Congress in Evian, and that time I read the paper on Japan, and then charge of that session was Ernest Gerner.
Oh yes.
And then Gerner said, you should make it a book. So I said, oh, I see, let me see. And that, that was in my mind. Then this publisher came. So I said, okay, I write on Japan. So I wrote it.
Because the book came out originally in English in that series which Ernest Gellner was an editor of, wasn't it?
No, not he was an editor. No, he without such a heavy meaning. He just mentioned me. It was interesting.
Because the book, I think Christoph von Führer-Heimendorf's book, Morals and Merit, came out in a Weidenfeld, I think it was, series.
Weidenfeld. Maybe connected.
Yes, and your book was in that series.
That's right.
With a green cover, I remember.
Yes, that's right.
One of the central themes which many people picked up from your book and is well known was your idea of the vertical society.
Yes.
What is this idea? I mean, I know what it is, but if you can explain what is the meaning of the vertical society in Japan?
Because perhaps India and the English society gave me that idea. And they are caste and class, not this way. And after I experienced that society, when I looked at Japan, They're always like this. And then, so I wanted to make some theory, how people become like that, this way and this way. And then I thought about China. China have both. And Japan don't have this one.
China has equality as well, you mean?
Yes, China have this way and this way, both.
Yeah.
And so I thought, and after, before that, many, foreigners write on Japan. Most of them are not satisfied. And also Japanese write on Japan. Always I didn't satisfied. So I said, let me have one by myself. So I wrote it about 2 weeks, and then it came out in the journal. And then it made some sensation. Critic was very good. And then many publishers came, let me have a book published from us. And many came, so I said, my goodness. And then they said, this is essay to journal, so it makes it a little bit longer and also a little bit easier for public. So I said, I just came back, I have no time at all. So writing 2 weeks, that I had to do, but to write or to change something like that, no time, no. And then only one publisher came. Let me have it as it is. So I said, in that way, okay.
So you wrote the whole of that book in 2 weeks? Did you? Gosh.
I went to some hotel near the sea.
Just wrote off the top of your head, without any books around you or anything.
That's right. I haven't read anything others.
Many books, the best books are written like that.
Is that so?
Yes, well, Descartes, essay on method and so on, like that. You said you were dissatisfied with many of the books written about Japan. Are there any books written by outsiders, foreigners, which you do admire and think have made some contribution to our understanding of Japan?
Some are good in certain parts, but not
as a whole.
But I found many books on India by foreigners. Many are good, but on Japan it's very.
For example, I mean, the most famous, of course, is Ruth Benedict's book.
Oh yes, that is, without coming to Japan, so it is understandable. At most she did.
Yes.
But that is a special one.
And Ronald Dawes' work?
Yes, that is read by, I think, less people, more sociological people, or journalist people. But most, Benedict's book, I think most of the Japanese intellectuals enjoyed.
And Robert Smith's book on Japanese society?
That is much smaller impact.
And of the earlier writers, people like Lafcadio Hearn and...
Oh, that is classic. As a literature, they like to read it. Everybody knows.
And of the Japanese scholars, are there any that, for example, Yanagita?
Yanagita also, like Lafcadio Hearn, in that old
style.
Writers, yes.
So there's no one you feel really has captured the essence of Japanese.
Yes, I thought. If I had been in India or England, I could have written that.
You couldn't have written it, or?
I think India and England gave me
the idea. It was this comparison between the three.
Yes, if I had known such a society.
Because very few Japanese anthropologists have spent a lot of time outside Japan, so they can't really see their own culture from the outside, as you could. Do you enjoy writing?
Yes, not always writing. No, when I have an idea, I like to write.
If you were giving advice to a young anthropologist who was starting now with anthropology, is there anything you would say to them?
I think I have not particular, but I should say to do it what you like to do.
Follow your heart. Your heart.
Yes.
Yes, as you did with Tibet.
I think that is better, interesting.
Are there? We're just coming towards the end of the tape now, and finishing. Are there any subjects which you would like me to have asked you about, which I have forgotten? Your family, or your interest in other things, music, or anything like that?
I think music. I am very bad about remember names and the musicians and the names of the music. So, but I like to listen, and also that cuisine too, eating.
Yes.
I can't remember the name of the dishes, but I like the delicious food very much.
Especially Tibetan food, or
No, Tibetans no.
not so good?
Tibetans are good when you are in Tibet,
Yes.
not outside.
Yes. And Tibetan tea, do you like?
Yes, that also, you should drink it in Tibet.
Yes, not outside. So there's nothing else you would like to add?
I'm not so good to tell others about myself.
Well, you've led such a wonderful life, and
It naturally has gone like that.
well, it has been a wonderful life, and I've read many of your works and learnt a great deal from you. So I would like to thank you very much indeed for doing this interview.
Very good experience.
Thank you.